Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If copy system in Naruto. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update. What If sign-in system in high school DxD will be going on hold soon, since we've nearly caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What if Gacha system in modern family world? What if Natsu has dual elements? What if transmigrated in one piece and becoming a marine? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 281, Waiting for the Day You Regret This. Shin looked at Hayashi Hyuga's grim face, which looked like someone had just died in his family, and felt rather speechless. I killed him. Just tell the third Hokage. Do you really think Hiruzen Sarutobi can demand an explanation from me? Besides, Hayashi Hyuga, aren't you even a little concerned about why the Kumo delegation leader was here? Shin's words snapped Hayashi back to reality. He realized that was the more important question: why was the Kumo delegation leader in the Hyuga compound? Why? Hayashi asked Shin. As the only witness, Shin was the only one he could ask. The Kumo delegation leader came for Hinata. He wanted to kidnap her. Then he ran into me and, well, met his glorious end. Shin told Hayashi the whole story directly. Hearing this, Hayashi erupted in fury. The audacity of Kumo Gakure. Sneaking into the Hyuga compound to commit a crime? Did they think the Hyuga clan was easy prey? Are you thinking Kumo thinks the Hyuga clan is easy prey? Shin asked, watching Hayashi's expression flicker between anger and calculation. How did you know? Hayashi was momentarily stunned. How did Shin know his thoughts? Just a guess. Anyone would think that in this situation. Shin shrugged. He couldn't actually read minds. But you're right. Kumo does think the Hyuga clan is easy prey. Otherwise, they wouldn't have targeted you. Kumo clearly covets your clan's Kekkei Genkai. Don't they also covet the Uchiha Sharingan? Of course they do. But they didn't target the Uchiha. Clearly, they think the Hyuga are an easier target. Shin's tone was flat, but Hayashi sensed the underlying disdain. The Hyuga clan is definitely not weaker than the Uchiha clan. Hayashi retorted defensively, his pride stung. Don't kid yourself. The Uchiha are leagues ahead of the Hyuga. In Shin's eyes, the gap between the Hyuga and Uchiha was immense. He didn't know about the Warring States period, but currently, the Hyuga were completely outclassed. Even after the Uchiha massacre, the surviving Itachi Uchiha could still wipe the floor with the entire Hyuga clan. Being looked down upon like this should have infuriated Hayashi, who valued his clan's honor above all else. He should have challenged Shin, but knowing it was futile, Hayashi suppressed his anger. Since you saved my daughter, the Hyuga clan will take responsibility for this matter, Hayashi said seriously. Question mark. Shin stared at him, bewildered. Was Hayashi an idiot? You saved Hinata. The Hyuga clan will not let our benefactor take the blame. I will tell the third Hokage that I killed the Kumo delegation leader. Hayashi declared righteously. He believed that given the Hyuga clan's standing, even if he admitted to killing the Kumo delegation leader, the third Hokage wouldn't punish them severely. Besides, Kumo was clearly at fault this time. Hayashi felt confident. This would also repay the debt he owed Shin Uzumaki. Hayashi didn't like owing anyone, especially not Shin. Well, you certainly have integrity. Shin gave Hayashi a thumbs up, then took the confused Hinata's hand and left. Hayashi might act tough now, but will he cry later? Shin looked forward to seeing how this played out. He had intended to help Hayashi by taking Hinata away, but Hayashi had refused. Shin wasn't the type to force his help on others. So, he just watched the show. He looked forward to the day Hayashi regretted his decision. Shin paid no further attention to the matter. He went off to spend time with little Hinata, hoping to improve her affection. She was adorable, he didn't want to force her to leave. He wanted her to come with him willingly. Hayashi went to examine the corpse. Seeing the unrecognizable state it was in, his mouth twitched, and a new wave of fear toward Shin washed over him. If I anger Shin Uzumaki, will I end up like this? Just the thought sent shivers down his spine. He instructed a few clan members to take the mangled corpse and followed them to the third Hokage. It was late, but Hiruzen was still working in the Hokage tower. Hayashi, what is it? Hiruzen looked up, puzzled by Hayashi's late-night visit. Sandaime-sama, I have something important to report. Hayashi gestured to his clansman, who brought forward the Kumo delegation leader's body. Hiruzen stood up abruptly. Although the body was beaten beyond recognition, the Kumo forehead protector revealed everything. Hayashi, what happened? Hiruzen asked gravely. Sandaime-sama, this is the leader of the Kumobukure envoy delegation. He came to my home attempting to kidnap my daughter. I confronted him, and in the ensuing struggle, I accidentally killed him, Hayashi reported. The two Hyuga clansmen behind him looked horrified. Did the clan head really strike that hard? Even Hiruzen momentarily forgot the man's identity, staring at Hayashi in disbelief. Beaten into this state? That's not an accident. That's clearly intentional, brutal force. Hayashi, you should know, this is troublesome, Hiruzen said, taking a drag from his pipe, his face etched with worry. Regardless of whether Hayashi acted intentionally, the Kumo delegation leader was dead. This meant the peace negotiations were likely ruined. Hayashi remained silent. He left the decision to Hiruzen, trusting the Hokage to protect his own people. Sandaime-sama, I expect Kumobukure to give the Hyuga clan an explanation. I will take my leave now. After a long silence, Hayashi left with his clansmen, leaving Hiruzen alone with the corpse. Go, summon the rest of the Kumo delegation. Hiruzen ordered a hidden Umbu agent. Hiruzen was also angry. How dare these Kumo shinobi cause trouble in Konoha? His initial thought was still to seek justice for the Hyuga clan. He didn't believe Hayashi would lie. Kumo was clearly at fault. Soon, the remaining members of the Kumo delegation were brought in. They sensed trouble the moment they were summoned. Seeing their leader's corpse, they understood immediately. Their plan had been exposed. And he'd been beaten so badly he was unrecognizable. Konoha shinobi are too ruthless. If not for the clothes, they wouldn't have recognized their captor. Chapter 282, Everything for the Village. In the Hokage's office, Hiruzen Sarutobi faced the remaining Kumo shinobi, his expression grim. Gentlemen, I believe an explanation is in order. Hiruzen's imposing aura pressed down on the Kumo shinobi. As a veteran of countless battles, his presence alone was intimidating, causing the shinobi to flinch. They exchanged glances. They had come here prepared to die. What was there to fear now? Thinking this, they shed their fear of Hiruzen. One of the Kumo shinobi sneered at him. Third Hokage, you owe us an explanation. Why did our captain die in Konoha? Are you trying to provoke a war with Kumobukure? The Kumo shinobi's sharp accusation made Hiruzen want to scream. These bastards were twisting the truth. Your captain broke into the Hyuga compound, attempting to kidnap the clan head's daughter. He was killed by the clan head in self-defense. Are you denying this? Hiruzen slammed his fist on the desk in anger. Ridiculous. It was clearly you who killed our captain. Hand over the murderer or prepare for war. The Kumo shinobi remained defiant, threatening Hiruzen with war. Hiruzen's face turned active. The Hokage of Konoha, being threatened by a Kumo shinobi? Handing over the Hyuga clan head is impossible. I will represent him and drop the matter. Let this be the end of it. Hiruzen compromised, taking a step back, Seeing this, the Kumo shinobi's eyes brightened. The third Hokage doesn't want war. No! You must hand over the murderer, or we declare war on Konoha. Hiruzen's face turned livid. They were pushing their luck. Just as he was about to lose his temper, Danzo suddenly opened the door and walked in. We agree to your terms, Danzo said emotionlessly. Danzo, what are you saying? Hiruzen glared at Danzo angrily. We can agree, but you must sign a peace treaty with Konoha immediately. No war. Danzo ignored Hiruzen and addressed the Kumo shinobi. Naturally. The Kumo shinobi readily agreed. They didn't want to continue the war anyway. And this way, they could still potentially obtain the Hyuga clan's Byakugan. What was there to refuse? After further discussion, the Kumo shinobi left. Hiruzen turned furiously to Danzo. Danzo, are you planning to sacrifice a Hyuga clan member for peace? TCH Hiruzen, if you truly disagreed, you should have stopped me earlier, not waited until they left to confront me. Danzo sneered at Hiruzen. If Hiruzen hadn't agreed, he wouldn't have remained silent during the negotiations. Aside from a weak initial protest, he hadn't voiced any objection. This meant Hiruzen had tacitly approved. Complaining now was just hypocrisy. Danzo turned and left, leaving Hiruzen sitting alone in silence in the Hokage office. Hayashi, I apologize. For the sake of the village's peace, you must be sacrificed. Konoha cannot withstand another conflict right now. A flicker of guilt crossed Hiruzen's eyes, but whether it was genuine or feigned, only he knew. The next morning, Hayashi Hyuga was summoned. He had been eagerly awaiting Hiruzen's explanation. Instead, Hiruzen demanded an explanation from him. Hayashi, I know this is unfair to you, but there's no other way. Konoha truly cannot afford a war with Kumogakure. Please endure this hardship. Everything is for the village. Hiruzen patted Hayashi's shoulder, delivering the verdict. Everything for the village. With those words, Hiruzen intended for Hayashi to sacrifice himself for peace. If it were Shin Uzumaki, he would have slapped Hiruzen and told him to shove his village where the sun doesn't shine. But Hayashi Hyuga was a useless coward. He didn't even dare to show his anger towards Hiruzen. Hayashi left the Hokage's office, his face expressionless. Only he knew the turmoil raging within him. Regretting it now? Shin watched him with an amused expression. The emotionless Hayashi turned his vacant gaze towards Shin. Yes, he regretted it. If he had let Shin take the blame, perhaps he wouldn't be in this situation. But for some reason, Hayashi hadn't revealed that Shin Uzumaki had killed the Kumo delegation leader. At the same time, Hayashi wondered how Shin knew what had happened in the Hokage's office. He didn't bother asking. His heart felt dead. He returned to the Hyuga compound. Time to spice things up a bit. Shin watched Hayashi's retreating figure, a plan forming in his mind. If things followed the original story, Hizashi Hyuga would die in Hayashi's place. But Shin wanted to change things, shake up the stagnant shinobi world, create a major incident. This boring shinobi world. I'll make it more interesting. Hayashi Hyuga, I hope you seize this opportunity. I'm only giving it to you for Hinata's sake. Having reached the pinnacle of strength, Shin found himself without worthy opponents. Causing chaos was his only remaining pastime. Stirring up trouble in the shinobi world sounded appealing. Unlike others, Shin didn't yearn for peace. He understood that true, permanent peace was impossible. Wherever people existed, conflict existed. War was merely an extension of that conflict. Unfortunately, the fools in the shinobi world couldn't grasp this simple truth. Shin leisurely returned to the Hyuga compound and took little Hinata out for a walk. Hayashi Hyuga, meanwhile, had gathered the Hyuga elders for a meeting. He explained the situation to them. Crash! One of the Hyuga elders slammed his cup down, shattering it. Outrageous! The Hyuga clan has served Konoha faithfully, shedding blood and sweat. How dare Hiruzen Sarutobi treat us like this? Hand over the clan head? If they did that, how could the Hyuga clan ever hold their heads high in the shinobi world again? We will not accept this humiliation, the Hyuga Great Elder declared. I have a proposal. Hayashi, as the clan head, cannot be sacrificed. But Hizashi and Hayashi are identical twins. Perhaps Hizashi could take his place, the third Hyuga elder suggested. The other elder's eyes lit up. It was a brilliant idea. It would save the clan head, preserve the Hyuga clan's honor, and prevent the Byakugan from falling into enemy hands. Hizashi was from the branch family, marked with the caged bird cursed seal. The main family could control and destroy the branch members bringing through this seal, simultaneously destroying the Byakugan. Chapter 283, Hayashi Hyuga, Rebel. Hayashi Hyuga's face was incredibly dark. Although the elders had devised a plan to spare his life, and his younger brother Hizashi had agreed to it, Hayashi felt no joy. He wasn't heartless. Remembering his childhood bond with Hizashi, he couldn't bear to let his brother die in his place. Just then, Shin returned with Hinata. He immediately noticed Hayashi sitting in the courtyard, his face like a thundercloud. Hinata, go play by yourself. Shin ruffled Hinata's hair gently, then walked over to Hayashi. The Hyuga clan plans to have your brother sacrifice himself for you, right? Shin asked, sitting down beside him. Hayashi looked at Shin Uzumaki in astonishment. How does he know everything? Seeing you look so pitiful, I decided to offer you an opportunity. Interested? Shin asked, smiling faintly at Hayashi. Hayashi instinctively felt Shin's smile held ill intentions, but his desire to save Hizashi outweighed his suspicions. What opportunity? Hayashi asked. He wanted to save his brother. And Shin Uzumaki clearly had the power to help him. If Shin could truly save Hizashi, Hayashi would even agree to let Shin take Hinata. What do you think of Konoha's treatment of the Hyuga clan? Shin countered, not answering Hayashi's question directly. Hayashi's face darkened further. Honestly, Hiruzen Sarutobi's decision this time had left him deeply disappointed. The Hyuga clan had fought and bled for Konoha during the war, yet now they were being sold out without hesitation. This was the first time the Hyuga clan had suffered such humiliation. Hayashi was naturally upset. To Konoha, the Hyuga clan is just an expendable pawn. They used you to trade for peace today, they could do it again in the future. Do you want to live like this forever? What are you trying to say? Hayashi narrowed his eyes at Shin. As a clan head, Hayashi wasn't stupid, he already had an inkling of what Shin was suggesting. Rebel, Hayashi. Don't let Konoha oppress you anymore. They treat you like dogs. Don't you even have the backbone to bite back? Shin's use of the word dog finally ignited Hayashi's fury. To be honest, Shin's words had planted the seed of rebellion in Hayashi's mind, but he quickly suppressed it. If the Hyuga clan rebelled, they would face certain annihilation. Konoha would never let them go. Seeing Hayashi's hesitation, Shin decided to add more fuel to the fire. TSK. Back in the Warring States period, the Hyuga clan stood alongside the Senju and Uchiha as great clans. Now, you lack such backbone. Your ancestors would turn over in their graves. Being oppressed and not fighting back is one thing, but to wag your tail like a dog begging for scraps, what a pathetic clan. Enough! Hayashi finally snapped, standing up furiously and glaring at Shin. Angry now? Am I wrong? Do you still have feelings for Konoha? They treat you like tools. Veins bulged on Hayashi's forehead. He gritted his teeth, his Byakugan activating in his rage, making him look particularly menacing. Don't just stand there fuming impotently. It only makes me look down on you more. If you decide to rebel, perhaps I can help you. Shin finished speaking and left, leaving Hayashi alone to contemplate. Whether Hayashi could swallow this insult remained to be seen. If he was truly rotten wood, there was no point trying to prop him up. After Shin left, Hayashi remained, lost in thought. As the saying goes, the longer you endure, the angrier you get, the more you retreat, the more you lose. Right now, Hayashi felt he was losing more and more. I, Hayashi Hyuga, will rebel. After long deliberation, fueled by simmering anger and Shin's provocative words, Hayashi made his decision. Shin Uzumaki, I hope you don't screw me over. Hayashi's decision was largely based on Shin's offer of help. If Shin ultimately betrayed him, the Hyuga clan would be doomed. In the end, Hayashi chose to trust Shin Uzumaki, placing the fate of his entire clan in Shin's hands. He swore he'd never imagined himself making such a reckless gamble. Looks like you've made up your mind. Shin walked back over with a smile. A clan-wide defection from the Hyuga, what kind of impact would that have on the shinobi world? If they failed, the Hyuga would be branded traitors, their shame recorded in history, likely having little impact on the world. But if they succeeded, the consequences would be enormous. Shin Uzumaki, the lives of the entire Hyuga clan rest in your hands now. I hope you won't betray my trust. Hayashi looked deeply at Shin. Relax. I'm a man of my word. Shin said, patting his chest confidently. Forget rebellion. I just want to lead the Hyuga clan away from this cold, heartless village. Hayashi sighed. Attacking the Hokage Tower, hitting a clan against an entire village, Hayashi wasn't considering that suicidal path. He just wanted to leave Konoha with his clan. Hayashi then left to secretly convene a meeting with the Hyuga elders. What? Big brother, you want to defect from Konoha? Hizashi Hyuga, also present, stared at his brother in shock. Was this really his brother's idea? That's right. Konoha betrayed us first. Hayashi said firmly. Having made his decision, he wouldn't waver. Hayashi, do you realize this decision could push the Hyuga clan into the abyss? The Hyuga Great Elder cautioned. I know. But the Hyuga clan can die standing. We will never live near. Hayashi clenched his fists. Stay in Konoha and hand over his own brother? Even with the rift between the main and branch families, they were still connected by blood. You are the clan head. You decide. I hope you take responsibility for the entire Hyuga clan. The Hyuga Great Elder sighed, then nodded. He wouldn't obstruct Hayashi's decision. He couldn't swallow this insult either. Hiruzen Sarutobi had gone too far. The Great Elder, older than Hiruzen, remembered the Hyuga clan's glory days. Who dared to bully the Hyuga back then? Now, facing such humiliation, his anger burned. Sometimes, dignity is more important than life. Rest assured, Great Elder. I wouldn't have made this decision without a trump card. Shin Uzumaki has promised to help. Hayashi revealed Shin's involvement, hoping to reassure the elders. Chapter 284, The Hyuga Clan Defense. Clan Head, will Shin Uzumaki truly help? Are you absolutely sure about this? After the Hyuga elders departed, Hizashi Hyuga remained, asking his brother Hayashi with a complicated mix of emotions. Hizashi, just call me Big Brother. Since Hayashi became clan head, Hizashi had dutifully addressed him by title, adhering to Hyuga tradition. Alright. Big Brother. You probably think this decision to defect from Konoha is crazy, don't you? Honestly, I think it's crazy too. Hayashi's usually stoic face showed a rare hint of helplessness. But Hizashi, we have no choice. Staying here means being treated as pawns, expendable pawns. While Shin's taunting had played a role in his decision, it was only a small part. The root cause was Hayashi's own simmering resentment. Hiruzen Sarutobi had sold him out without even consulting him, sacrificing their own allies for the sake of peace. This village was no longer the Konoha the Hyuga clan was sworn to protect. Hayashi's heart had grown cold. Hizashi remained silent. He knew if his brother hadn't made this drastic decision, he would have been the one sacrificed in Hayashi's place. Honestly, Hizashi felt unwilling to die for his brother. They were twins, yet their fates were so vastly different. But now, seeing his brother choose clan-wide defection, Hizashi felt a surge of emotion. He believed Hayashi was doing this, at least in part, to save him. And he wasn't entirely wrong. Hayashi couldn't bear to see his own brother sacrifice himself, especially not for him. Hizashi, go make the preparations. I need to speak with Shin Uzumaki. Hayashi decided to talk to Shin again, hoping Shin could help them with a crucial first step. Hayashi found Shin by the pond, with little Hinata beside him, looking flustered. Seeing Hayashi approach, Hinata grew even more anxious, clutching Shin's hand. What do we do, Shin nii? Relax, Hinata. It's just a few dead fish. Hayashi won't mind, Shin said, patting her head reassuringly. Hearing this, Hayashi immediately looked into the pond. Several fish floated belly up, clearly dead. Hayashi loved his fish. Normally, he would have been furious. But right now, he couldn't care less about the fish. Shin, I need your help, Hayashi said directly. Speak. Helping you isn't a problem, since I already promised. Shin was waiting for Hayashi to make his move. Helping him was no issue, as long as Hayashi didn't back out now. I need you to get the women, children, and elderly of the Hyuga clan out of Konoha. Can you do that? Hayashi understood the consequences of defection. Konoha would never allow it. A battle was inevitable. He needed to ensure the safety of the non-combatants first. No problem. That's simple for me. Gather them. Shin nodded to Hayashi. Relieved, Hayashi immediately went to make arrangements. He didn't care how Shin would do it, only that he could. Shin nii, is father okay? Hinata asked, tugging at Shin's clothes. Hinata, little kids shouldn't worry about adult matters. Oh. Hinata nodded, though she didn't fully understand. Hayashi acted swiftly. Soon, he gathered the clan's women, children, and elderly, over 100 people, and brought them to Shin. Shin directly transported them all into the Kamui dimension. It was spacious enough. They had brought food and water, enough to last for a month, though they wouldn't be staying that long. Hayashi, initially worried, entered the Kamui dimension himself to check. Seeing everyone settled, he finally felt at ease. Take care of Hinata, Hayashi said solemnly to Shin. What's with the final words? Relax, I won't abandon you. If you run into trouble, I'll definitely help. For Hinata's sake, Shin would save them. Besides, he was the one who instigated this defection in the first place. Hayashi said nothing more and left the courtyard, heading towards the Hyuga training grounds. The training ground was large, and all the Hyuga clan shinobi were gathered there. They already knew Hayashi's decision, Hizashi had informed them. They were defecting from Konoha. As members of the branch family, they had no choice but to follow the main family's decision, even if it led to ruin. Your parents and children have been moved to a safe place. You have nothing to worry about. Now, we are leaving Konoha. Hayashi took out his forehead protector and scratched a line across it with a kunai. The other Hyuga ninja hesitated for a moment, then followed suit, marking their headbands with the symbol of a missing knee. Let's go. Hayashi didn't waste words. The clan members knew the reason for their defection. Though reluctant to leave Konoha, they supported their clan head. They had been wrong. It wasn't their fault, yet the Hyuga clan was forced to bear the consequences. Their pride couldn't accept it. Stepping out of the Hyuga compound gates signified their complete defection. There was no turning back. Hayashi didn't know what the future held, but he refused to stay in Konoha and suffer further humiliation. The Hyuga clan's large-scale movement naturally alerted the Umbu, who had been keeping a close eye on them recently. An Umbu agent immediately reported to Hiruzen Sarutobi. Hiruzen, who was handling village affairs, rushed out of the Hokage office upon receiving the news. He knew his handling of the situation had hindered the Hyuga clan and had planned to accuse them later. But hearing the Umbu report that the entire Hyuga clan had turned into missing nin shocked him. Abandoning all other matters, Hiruzen personally went to intercept the Hyuga, ordering the Umbu to mobilize as well. They had to stop the Hyuga clan at all costs. Hiruzen hadn't expected Hayashi Hyuga to react so drastically. Chapter 285, The Hyuga Clan vs. Konoha. Just as the Hyuga clan was about to leave Konoha, Hiruzen Sarutobi, leading a squad of Umbu, finally intercepted them. Hayashi, what is the meaning of this? Hiruzen demanded, his face contorted with anger as he noticed the scratches on their forehead protectors. Isn't it obvious? From this day forward, the Hyuga clan severs all ties with Konoha. Hayashi replied calmly, though he was already bracing for a fight. Why? Hiruzen asked, pained. Konoha's second most prominent clan, defecting just like that? Why? The third Hokage was ready to sacrifice my life, and you ask me why? Hayashi looked at Hiruzen with open mockery. Hayashi, you misunderstand. Konoha never intended to sacrifice you. Hiruzen began, but his words rang hollow. He truly hadn't intended to sacrifice Hayashi himself. The Hyuga clan would never agree to that. His plan had been to have the Hyuga offer up someone else important to appease Kumogakure. Not sacrifice me, but sacrifice one of my clansmen? Kumogakure was the aggressor, yet the Hyuga clan must pay the price? Why? Hayashi's voice was glacial. His sharp questions left Hiruzen speechless. Hayashi Hyuga is finally showing some backbone. Shin watched the unfolding scene from a distance. This was exactly what he wanted to see. Hinata wasn't with him, he had sent her to the land of whirlpools, entrusting her to Makoto and the other, so he could watch the drama unfold. If Shin's only goal had been the Hyuga defection, he could have teleported the entire clan away easily. But Shin wanted more. He wanted to see the sparks fly when the defecting Hyuga clashed with Konoha. In this play, Konoha and the Hyuga were the main actors, and Shin was the eager audience. Shin watched calmly, curious to see how Hiruzen would handle this. But regardless of Hiruzen's response, a fight was inevitable. The Hyuga had crossed the point of no return, and Hiruzen couldn't possibly let them leave. Hayashi, everything is for the village. You understand the horrors of war. Do you truly wish to start another? If Konoha goes to war with Kumo, countless ninja will die. Hiruzen pleaded earnestly. Sacrificing one Hyuga for peace seemed like a reasonable trade to him. He had expected the Hyuga to be dissatisfied but never anticipated such an extreme act as defection. But things had changed, largely due to Shin's influence. Without Shin, even if Hayashi had wanted to defect, he wouldn't have had the means. Leaving with the entire clan, including the women, children, and elderly, would have been impossible. They would have been a burden, slowing them down. Shin had removed that burden, freeing them to act. Hiruzen, unaware of Shin's involvement, would likely have a stroke if he knew the truth. Third Hokage, stop talking about for the village. Konoha and the Hyuga clan have nothing to do with each other anymore. Hayashi stated resolutely. Even the Senju clan, Konoha's co-founders, were gone. Would the Hyuga suffer the same fate if they remained? This fear was another reason for Hayashi's firm decision to leave. Hayashi, if you insist on defecting, then I have no choice but to stop you. Hiruzen sighed deeply, realizing further words were useless. Hayashi was determined. We only wish to leave Konoha peacefully. We have no desire to be enemies with Konoha. But don't force our hand. Hayashi activated his Byakugan and took a gentle fist stance. Behind him, the other Hyuga ninja did the same, their white eyes gleaming, ready for battle. Fire style, great flame technique. Hiruzen formed hand seals and unleashed a torrent of intense flames towards the Hyuga clan. 8 trigrams, vacuum palm. Hayashi and Hizashi Hyuga combined their attacks, barely managing to block Hiruzen's ninjutsu. The moment Hiruzen attacked, the Anbu agents moved as well, launching their assault on the Hyuga ninja. Attack! Show them the strength of the Hyuga clan. The Hyuga ninja fought back fiercely. The gentle fist style proved effective, its ability to block chakra flames disabled many Anbu. A ninja unable to use chakra was effectively crippled. However, the Hyuga lacked ranged attacks. While the 8 trigrams, vacuum palm offered some range, not everyone knew the technique. Hiruzen hadn't brought many Anbu, and they struggled to contain the Hyuga. Seeing this, Hiruzen dispatched an Anbu agent to summon reinforcements from Konoha. Hyuga clan, break through! Hayashi yelled. His goal wasn't to fight, but to escape Konoha. Retaliation could wait. He knew they couldn't defeat Konoha's entire force. Konoha had tens of thousands of ninja. You're not going anywhere. Hiruzen blocked Hayashi and Hisashi, his face grim. He couldn't let the Hyuga defect, even if it meant wiping them out. This was about Konoha's authority and stability. If the Hyuga defected successfully, what would the other clans think? Would the ostracized Uchiha clan be tempted to follow suit? This couldn't be allowed to happen. He had to nip this in the bud. Big brother, take the clan and go. I'll hold them back. Hisashi said firmly. He felt he owed his life to his brother. Dying here wouldn't be regrettable. It's useless. Hayashi refused. Hisashi wasn't strong enough. Alone, he wouldn't last long against Hiruzen, let alone the Umbers. Even together, they were barely holding Hiruzen back. Chapter 286, the substitute player arrives. The Hyuga clan really is weak. If this were the Uchiha clan, breaking out of Konoha would be no problem at all. Shin watched the bogged-down Hyuga, shaking his head. Konoha's main forces hadn't even arrived yet, and they were already pinned down by Hiruzen and a few dozen Umbu. Once Konoha's reinforcements arrived, the Hyuga would likely be wiped out in minutes. Looks like I have to intervene. Shin activated his Nine-Tomo Rineten Seigen. He hadn't actually expected the Hyuga to fight their way out on their own. He'd intended to help, but he wasn't planning on intervening personally. Dealing with Hiruzen himself felt too easy. Shin's eyes flickered slightly, exerting his ocular power. Hayashi Hyuga, currently blocking Hiruzen's attacks, suddenly felt his body move on its own. What's happening? Hayashi panicked internally. Losing control of his own body was terrifying. However, despite losing control, his body moved with incredible fluidity, effortlessly dodging Hiruzen's strikes. Hiruzen, wielding his adamantine staff, swung rapidly, but couldn't land a single blow on Hayashi. His eyes narrowing, Hiruzen retreated a few steps, sensing something was wrong with Hayashi. Before, Hayashi could only desperately block his attacks. Now, he easily evaded everything. It was like fighting a completely different person. Was he hiding his true strength before? Of course not. How could Hayashi possibly hold back now? He wished he could unleash 10 times his power. The truth was, Shin was now controlling Hayashi's body. That explained the drastic change. Ducking under a downward swing from Hiruzen's staff, Hayashi's hand suddenly formed a Rasengan, slamming it towards Hiruzen's face. Hiruzen, despite his thick skin, wasn't about to take a Rasengan to the face. He quickly blocked with his adamantine staff. Still quick for an old man, Shin muttered to himself, watching Hiruzen get sent flying by the impact. Rasengan? How do you know the Rasengan? Hiruzen stared at Hayashi in shock. Hayashi was even more shocked than Hiruzen. He couldn't explain it either. But he had a suspicion. Perhaps Shin Uzumaki interfered? Controlling my body directly? Thinking of Shin's methods, Hayashi felt a shiver run down his spine. Being controlled felt awful, like his body wasn't his own. Big brother? Hisashi looked at Hayashi in astonishment. Hisashi, take the clan and leave. Hayashi ordered his brother. Although his body was controlled, his mind was still his own. He could still speak. But? No buts. Don't forget, I still have a trump card. Hayashi reminded Hisashi subtly. Hisashi instantly understood and nodded. Gentle fist art, 8 trigrams 64 palms. Hayashi assumed the gentle fist stance. The surrounding Ambu, along with Hiruzen, were enveloped within the Bagua trigram pattern. Then, he attacked with blinding speed. His fists ignited the air with friction, creating a fiery effect around his strikes. It resembled Might Guy's Morning Peacock technique from the 6th gate of the 8 inner gates, attacks so fast they generated flames through air friction. What was normally a single target technique became an area of effect attack.
Hayashi's figure blurred within the Bagua pattern.
Any ninja struck by his fists or palms died instantly. Only the third Hokage managed to block Hayashi's blows. After blocking the attack, Hiruzen retreated more than 10 meters, his arms aching. His old bones couldn't take much more of this. Hiruzen's taijutsu wasn't weak, but age had taken its toll. Besides, the sheer power of these attacks could threaten even a Kage.
He'd only managed to block because the attack wasn't solely focused on him.
I misjudged you.
I never knew you hid your strength so well.
Hiruzen looked at Hayashi with extreme caution.
Hid my ass. I'm the one controlling him. Shin, sitting on a rooftop nearby, couldn't help but complain internally. Hayashi didn't have this kind of power, it was all Shin. Hayashi felt no satisfaction.
His limbs burned with pain. Shin controlled his body, but Hayashi still felt the repercussions. The explosive burst of power had strained his body, he was only holding back his groans out of pride.
Go!
Hisashi seized the opportunity, leading the Hyuga clansmen away from Konoha. The Anbu ninja blocking their path had all been killed by Hayashi, under Shin's control.
Their escape route was clear.
Hiruzen wanted to stop them, but he was pinned down by Hayashi. Hayashi felt terrified, praying Shin wouldn't unleash another barrage like that. He didn't think his body could handle another round.
Okage-sama. Just then, the main force of Konoha ninja arrived.
Though some were away on missions, thousands had gathered in a short time.
Hiruzen's spirit lifted. He immediately ordered, "The Hyuga clan has defected. Apprehend them."
Among the arriving ninja were members of Konoha's major clans. Hearing the order, the Uchiha, Nara, Yamanaka, Akimichi, Aburame, and other clan members stared in shock.
Is this real? The Hyuga clan defected? Not just one person, but the entire clan had defected, becoming missing Nin.
Looking at Hayashi Hyuga, seeing the scratch across his forehead protector, they finally believed it.
The Hyuga clan defected. Fugaku Uchiha looked at Hayashi, his thoughts unreadable. He knew about the Hyuga's recent misfortune and had even felt a bit of delight. But now, seeing them defect, Fugaku couldn't laugh.
A sense of unease washed over him. The other clans felt similarly.
They understood the Hyuga's situation. Their defection, though extreme, was understandable. At the same time, they admired the Hyuga's courage. To actually dare to defect?
That took guts, perhaps making them the strongest clan in Konoha in a different sense. They wondered if the Hyuga had some hidden trump card.
Chapter 287, The Third Reikage Puppet vs Hiruzen Sarutobi.
The shinobi from Konoha's major clans, including the Uchiha who held no love for the Hyuga, hesitated, not immediately attacking the defecting clan. The only ones who obeyed Hiruzen Sarutobi's orders and attacked were members of the Sarutobi clan and the clanless shinobi. The Sarutobi clan naturally followed Hiruzen's command, as he was not only the Hokage but also their clan head.
As for the clanless shinobi, with no ties to the Hyuga, they naturally obeyed the Hokage's orders. This is getting troublesome.
Shin observed the escalating number of Konoha shinobi.
Controlling just Hayashi wouldn't be enough to handle this. Hayashi was too weak.
Even with Shin pulling the strings, Hayashi could, at best, contend with a Kage-level opponent.
Taking on an army? Forget about it. Summoning Jutsu.
Shin formed a hand seal and slammed his palm on the ground. The third Reikage puppet materialized before him.
Shin-sama.
The Eight Tails' deep voice resonated from the puppet as it knelt before Shin.
The puppet wasn't controlled by Shin anymore.
Finding it bothersome, Shin had struck a deal with the Eight Tails. The Eight Tails would control the puppet body. Shin had essentially granted the Eight Tails partial freedom in exchange for gathering intel and reporting back periodically. The Eight Tails couldn't truly escape, however, Shin's seal remained, allowing him to control the beast at will. Compared to its tailed beast brethren, the Eight Tails considered its current situation quite luxurious. It even felt a measure of gratitude towards Shin.
Hold back those Konoha shinobi, Shin commanded the Eight Tails. The Eight Tails didn't hesitate.
Controlling the third Reikage puppet, it charged towards the Konoha forces. Though unable to use Shin's Rinnegan to Tensigen or other Kekkai Genkai, the puppet could still use the third Reikage's original ninjutsu and taijutsu along with the Eight Tails' power. Shin released his control over Hayashi, who felt a surge of panic.
Would Shin abandon him now that Konoha's reinforcements had arrived?
Suddenly, Hayashi's consciousness shifted, finding himself in a pure white space.
Where am I? A Genjutsu space. My creation.
Shin's voice came from behind Hayashi, startling him. You seem rather flustered. Poor mental fortitude, Hayashi.
Are you kidding me? Hayashi inwardly cursed. Being suddenly pulled into a Genjutsu space was unsettling.
He'd never even heard of such a thing.
You can leave now. Someone will handle the Konoha shinobi for you.
With Shin's words, the white space vanished, and Hayashi's consciousness returned to his body. Just then, the imposing figure of the third Reikage puppet appeared before him.
He must be the one Shin Uzumaki mentioned would help me.
Hayashi glanced at the puppet, then turned and left without hesitation. He needed to regroup with Hizashi and the others. The third Reikage puppet stood like an unmovable mountain, blocking the path of the Konoha shinobi. Its powerful aura, like a thunderclap, forced them to halt.
Third Reikage? Aren't you dead?
Hiruzen stared at the puppet, his expression grave. The third Reikage's death was known throughout the shinobi world. Seeing him alive now was shocking. But this wasn't the real third Reikage, it was a puppet crafted from his corpse.
I am the Eight Tails.
The Eight Tails' booming voice hurt Hiruzen's ears. The Eight Tails chakra cloak enveloped the puppet, 5 tails appearing behind it.
Tailed beast mode? The Eight Tails.
Hiruzen was bewildered.
What was happening?
His mind was reeling.
Killer Bee was the Eight Tails Jinchuriki, wasn't he? When did the deceased third Reikage become the host?
Putting those questions aside, Hiruzen knew this newcomer was hostile.
Perhaps the Hyuga's defection was connected to this? Otherwise, they wouldn't have dared. Did the Hyuga clan defect to Kumogakure?
Hiruzen wondered. The thought made his face darken.
The defection of Konoha's second largest clan was a massive blow. Not only did it weaken Konoha's strength, but it also threatened internal stability. The Hyuga had set a dangerous precedent. Third Reikage, this is Konoha. You're not welcome here.
Hiruzen swung his adamantine staff at the puppet.
Boom!
The puppet blocked the staff with one hand.
Hiruzen's blow, capable of collapsing a building, was easily stopped. The original third Reikage was renowned for his taijutsu.
Now, clad in a tailed beast cloak in a partial transformation state, the puppet was even stronger. It countered with a powerful elbow strike. Hiruzen hastily blocked with his staff.
The immense force sent him flying dozens of meters, blood nearly spurting from his mouth. The adamantine staff transformed back into Enma, whose face was contorted in pain.
Even Enma, known for his indestructible body, was injured.
Hiruzen, are you alright? Enma asked. I'm fine.
I managed to deflect most of the force, Hiruzen said, gritting his teeth against the pain in his arms. He felt like his bones were fractured.
Attack! Protect Hokage-sama. The Konoha shinobi charged forward. Though intimidated by the half-transformed puppet, they wouldn't abandon their Hokage or their village. Be careful! Hiruzen warned them.
The brief exchange had shown him the opponent's terrifying strength. Though Hiruzen's forte was ninjutsu, he had foolishly engaged in taijutsu.
Chapter 288, The Professor of Ninjutsu lives up to his name. Even Hiruzen Sarutobi couldn't withstand a single elbow strike from the third Reikage puppet, let alone these Konoha shinobi.
The puppet could kill several of them with a single punch.
A Jonin took a direct hit from the puppet's fist and was sent flying, crashing into the shinobi behind him and killing them instantly. This thing was a monster. Elite Jonin couldn't even block one punch. Furthermore, the tailed beast cloak's defense was incredibly strong. A barrage of concentrated ninjutsu attacks couldn't even break through it. After taking a moment to recover, Hiruzen immediately ordered the shinobi below Jonin rank to fall back. Sending Chunin and Genin would just be sending them to their deaths. Jonin could at least try to stall, though the risk of death was still extremely high. We can't just stand by and watch. Let's attack together, Nara Shikaku said to Yamanaka Inoichi and Akimichi Choza. They hadn't wanted to fight the Hyuga earlier due to their decent relationship. But facing an external enemy, they had to act. Shadow manipulation technique. Nara Shikaku attempted to control the third Reikage puppet with his clan's secret technique. However, while the Nara clan's jutsu was effective, the power difference was too vast. He couldn't even restrain the puppet for a single moment. With a thud, Nara Shikaku fell to one knee. Yamanaka Inoichi and Akimichi Choza quickly rushed to support him. Shikaku, what happened? The jutsu backfired. I'm afraid I can't help anymore, Nara Shikaku said with a wry smile. He had already used most of his chakra in that attempt, yet still failed to control the opponent. Inoichi, stay here and look after Shikaku. I'll join the fight, Akimichi Choza said to Yamanaka Inoichi. Among the Inoshikacho trio, only Choza excelled in direct combat. Shikaku and Inoichi's techniques were better suited for support roles. Alright. Be careful. Don't get hurt, Yamanaka Inoichi said, patting Choza's shoulder. Earth Release, Earth Flow River. Hiruzen finally remembered his specialty was ninjutsu. He manipulated the ground, turning the earth beneath the puppet into flowing mud, attempting to knock it off balance. Earth Release, Swamp of the Underworld. Similar to the previous technique, this turned the ground beneath the puppet into a swamp. Combined with the effects of the Earth Flow River, the puppet began to sink rapidly. Hiruzen Sarutobi's skills are still sharp. Shin watched Hiruzen deploy his ninjutsu. Putting aside Kekkei Genkai, which Hiruzen lacked, his mastery of ninjutsu truly earned him the title of professor, a genuine master, not just someone with the title. Though age might have weakened his taijutsu, Hiruzen's ninjutsu skills were among the best in the shinobi world. Fire Release, Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. Having trapped the puppet in the swamp, Hiruzen followed up with a powerful fire release technique, aiming to solidify the mud with intense heat and completely immobilize the puppet. Okage-sama is incredible. Some Konoha shinobi watched Hiruzen with awe and reverence. They had felt despair when Hiruzen seemed to be easily overpowered earlier. But now, seeing him expertly use ninjutsu to turn the tables, their image of the third Hokage grew tall and mighty once more. Hiruzen, seeing the enemy seemingly neutralized, allowed a faint smile to grace his lips. Celebrating a bit too early, aren't you? Shin murmured faintly, observing Hiruzen and the Konoha shinobi. Did they really think such simple tactics could defeat the Eight Tails and the third Reikage puppet? They were far from finished. Boom! The entire village of Konoha trembled as the massive form of the Eight Tails erupted from the ground, letting out a furious roar. Full-tailed beast transformation. The Eight Tails had arrived. The Eight Tails? Hiruzen's smile froze, his expression turning increasingly grim. Retreat! Evacuate the villagers! With the tailed beast fully manifested, the situation became far more dangerous. Having experienced the Nine Tails rampage, Konoha knew the devastating power of these creatures. Even if the Eight Tails wasn't as strong as the Nine Tails, it was still a tailed beast. The difference wouldn't be that significant. They'd sacrificed the fourth Hokage to stop Kurama. Would they need to sacrifice another Kage this time? The Eight Tails immediately began forming a tailed beast ball, wasting no time on pointless chatter. To avoid interruption, the Eight Tails formed the tailed beast ball quickly, which slightly reduced its potential power. But even a smaller tailed beast ball could easily level a small mountain. I wonder if Konoha has any more tricks up its sleeve. Shin watched the Eight Tails prepare its attack but didn't intervene. He was curious to see if Konoha had any hidden defenses. Of course, even if Konoha couldn't block it, Shin didn't particularly care. His relationship with the village wasn't good. There weren't many people in Konoha he cared about. He might step in to save Shikaku and his friends, given their past connection, but that was it. Everyone, fall back.
Hiruzen yelled as the Eight Tails prepared to fire. As the Konoha shinobi retreated, Hiruzen used the shadow clone technique, creating 4 clones. Then, the main body and the 4 clones simultaneously performed ninjutsu, unleashing techniques spanning all 5 basic nature transformation: wind, earth, lightning, water, and fire.
5 Release Great Combo Technique. The 5 different elemental jutsu combine, striking the 8 tails and colliding with the incoming tailed beast ball.
This was likely Hiruzen's strongest combination jutsu, a technique that had shone brightly in the original story.
Even Shin couldn't help but pay attention. This combination jutsu is quite good, I'll copy it,
Shin said with satisfaction.
He didn't need a replication card. His 9-tomo Rinna Tenseigan could copy any ninjutsu instantly.
The collision between Hiruzen's great combo technique and the 8 tails' tailed beast ball shattered every window in Konoha. Looking at the 100-meter wide crater before him, Hiruzen sighed in relief. He had managed to block the attack. However, the cost was significant. Hiruzen had expended more than a third of his chakra.
He could maybe use the great combo technique twice more.
The third Hokage's strength is truly unfathomable.
Fugaku Uchiha clenched his fists, watching Hiruzen's display of power.
Any rebellious thoughts Fugaku might have harbored were significantly dampened.
Seeing Hiruzen's strength, those ambitions suddenly seemed less achievable.
Even if he revealed his hidden Mangekyo Sharingan, he might not be able to defeat Hiruzen.
And challenging Hiruzen meant opposing the entire village. Hiruzen was unaware that his display of power had inadvertently curbed Fugaku Uchiha's ambitions, at least temporarily. Chapter 289, The Hyuga Clan's Decision.
Shin copied Hiruzen Sarutobi's great combo technique and, having achieved his goal, prepared to leave Konoha.
8 tails, retreat. Shin's voice echoed in the 8 tails' mind.
The tailed beast, which had been preparing another, larger tailed beast ball, immediately abandoned its attack.
Its massive body turned and disappeared from the Konoha shinobi sight in an instant. It left? Hiruzen Sarutobi stood frozen for a long moment before recovering.
He didn't know why the 8 tails had suddenly left, but its departure was the best possible news for him. Although he had managed to block the tailed beast ball with his 5-element combination jutsu, he doubted he could withstand another 2. With the immense pressure of the tailed beast gone, the Konoha shinobi breathed a collective sigh of relief, their gazes towards Hiruzen filled with even greater reverence. Their Hokage had driven away a tailed beast. Of course, the Konoha shinobi didn't know the 8 tails had retreated on Shin's command. They assumed the 8 tails had fled in fear of the third Hokage. Some shinobi already considered Hiruzen the strongest Hokage in history, perhaps even the strongest shinobi in the world. If Hashirama Senju knew that simply trading blows with the 8 tails could earn someone the title of the strongest Hokage, he might just cry. Leaving the Konoha situation behind, Shin found the departed Hyuga clan, led by Hayashi. Hayashi was currently tending to his injuries. Being controlled by Shin to unleash power beyond his body's limits had left him significantly wounded. Hayashi, I brought your clansmen back. Shin released the Hyuga women, children, and elderly from the Kamui dimension, along with their supplies.
Thank you, Shin Uzumaki. Hayashi formally thanked Shin. Thank me? I thought you'd hate me. If it weren't for Shin, the Hyuga clan would still be living peacefully in Konoha, not embarking on this path of exile. Nevertheless, thank you. Alright, I accept your thanks. Stop thanking me. Honestly, I mostly did it for my own amusement.
Shin waved his hand dismissively.
Hizashi Hyuga, standing behind Hayashi, felt his face twitch. The Hyuga clan's defection was just amusement to Shin? He wasn't wrong.
Shin had instigated the Hyuga's defection primarily for his own entertainment.
What are your plans now? Shin asked Hayashi.
Although he'd nudged them towards defection, he had no intention of finding them a new home.
We plan to return to our ancestral lands first, then decide our next move. Hayashi had already considered this. After leaving Konoha, they would return to the Hyuga homeland from the Warring States period. The land had been abandoned after they joined Konoha. Now, Hayashi planned to lead his clan back there and figure out how to deal with Konoha. Becoming missing Nin didn't guarantee safety. Konoha could send pursuers at any time. However, Hayashi wasn't overly worried. He believed the Hyuga clan could handle any pursuers Konoha might send. As Hokage, Hiruzen wouldn't likely come himself. The other Konoha clans probably wouldn't get involved either. It was a thankless task, and the Hyuga had no major feuds with other clans besides the Uchiha. As for civilian shinobi, Hayashi wasn't concerned. Like most members of prominent clans, he looked down on them. Civilian shinobi struggled to even learn powerful jutsu. Rising stars like Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Minato Namikaze were rare exceptions in any village. And even they had relied on connections. Orochimaru and Jiraiya were Hiruzen's students. Minato was Jiraiya's student, Hiruzen's grand student. That was how Minato gained access to the Flying Thunder God technique. Without such opportunities, even with immense talent, Minato might have peaked as an elite jonin. Since you have a destination, I won't concern myself further. I'm leaving. Wait. Hayashi stopped Shin as he turned to leave. What else? Shin turned back. It's about Hinata. I hope you will take good care of her. Please. Hayashi requested earnestly. Don't worry about that. Hinata will be much better off with me than with you. If she misses you someday, I'll bring her to visit. Hayashi didn't argue. In the current situation, Hinata was indeed safer with Shin Uzumaki. The Hyuga clan faced constant danger. With Shin, at least her safety was assured. Take this. For Hinata's sake, if you face a problem you can't solve, you can call me once. Shin tossed a Flying Thunder God kunai to Hayashi, who caught it. This is a Flying Thunder God kunai. Channel chakra into it to trigger the formula, and I'll sense it. You know the Flying Thunder God technique too? Hayashi held the kunai, astonishment plain on his usually stoic face. He couldn't help but be surprised. This was the signature jutsu of the fourth Hokage, though developed by the second. It was the technique that earned Minato the title Yellow Flash. I know many things. Is the Flying Thunder God technique really that difficult? Hayashi was speechless. Difficult? It's nigh impossible. He couldn't even get access to the technique, let alone learn it. After giving Hayashi the kunai, Shin departed without further ceremony. Hayashi didn't try to stop him this time. Let's move. We're too close to Konoha here, it's not safe, Hayashi addressed his clansmen. He then led them towards their ancestral homeland. Shin returned to the land of whirlpools. Hinata immediately ran up to him, tightly gripping his hand. She was scared here. Although she knew the women weren't bad people, Hinata was naturally timid and shy around strangers. Even the gentle Makoto and Konan couldn't put her completely at ease. Seeing Shin return, Hinata finally relaxed. Chapter 290, these antics are hilarious. Hinata is adorable, but she doesn't let anyone touch her. Kushina grumbled, watching Hinata sit obediently beside Shin. I'm not that scary, am I? Why is Hinata so afraid of me? Every time she tried to pat Hinata's head, the little girl would flinch away in panic. That just means you lack charm, Shin said with a smile. Shin, are you saying I'm not charming? Kushina gritted her teeth, clenching her fists and glaring threateningly at Shin. However, Shin didn't feel threatened in the slightest. Is Hinata going to live with us from now on? Makoto asked Shin. Yes, Hinata will be living with us from now on. Shin had already spoken to Hinata about it, and she had agreed to stay with him. That means we'll see Hinata every day. Konan smiled faintly at Hinata, who immediately lowered her head, tightly gripping Shin's clothes. The Hyuga defected. You actually pulled it off. That's impressive. Tsunade was still amazed that Shin had managed to convince the entire Hyuga clan to defect. Shin had already told them about the Hyuga defection. I only played a small part. The Hyuga decided to defect mainly because of their dissatisfaction with Konoha and Hiruzen Sarutobi. Shin's few words were enough to push Hayashi over the edge, primarily because Hayashi was already resentful towards Konoha and Hiruzen. Sigh. I feel like Konoha might completely decline in the future. Tsunade sighed. Konoha was founded jointly by the Senju and Uchiha clans. The Hyuga were the most prominent clan after them. Now, the Senju clan only consisted of her and Nawaki, and they had severed ties with Konoha. The Hyuga clan had defected entirely. As for the remaining Uchiha clan, Tsunade knew about their strained relationship with Konoha. They would likely follow the same path eventually. They brought it upon themselves. If Hiruzen Sarutobi hadn't pulled his stunts, I might still be in Konoha. Shin hadn't initially planned to leave Konoha either, but Hiruzen's actions had been too repulsive. Shin couldn't be bothered to stay. Enough about that. I suddenly feel so wronged, Mei Terumi said glumly. During the Third Shinobi World War, she had only intended to rest temporarily in the Land of Whirlpools, but ended up staying and later becoming a Kirigakure missing name. Why do you feel wronged? Have you been mistreated here? Shin habitually flicked Mei Terumi's forehead, making the already dejected girl feel even more wronged. You bully me every day. Mei Terumi felt like she'd become their punching bag. She'd lost count of how many times her forehead had been flicked. Ahem, sorry, it's become a habit, Shin coughed lightly, apologizing awkwardly to the teary-eyed Mei Terumi. Mei Terumi looked at Shin indignantly. A habit? She told herself she was a strong girl, she wouldn't cry. Absolutely not. Alright, I swear I won't randomly flick your forehead anymore. Shin patted Mei Terumi's head comfortingly, causing her to blush slightly. Oh? Mei, you're blushing, Kushina pointed out. No, I'm not. Don't be ridiculous. Mei Terumi wasn't the bold, alluring Mizuki she would become in the future, she was still easily embarrassed. If it were the future Mei Terumi, she probably would have teased Kushina right back. News of the Hyuga clan's defection had spread throughout the shinobi world. The Hyuga clan defected? The fourth Kazekage, Raza, sneered. This was good news for Tsunade. Suna had lost the Third Shinobi World War and was forced into an alliance with Konoha. However, Raza, though not particularly strong, was ambitious. He had never given up on attacking Konoha. As for the alliance treaty, it was just a piece of worthless paper, easily discarded when convenient. In Iwagakure, Anoki laughed uncontrollably upon hearing the news, much to his son Kitsuchi's concern. Had his father finally lost it? Lord Tsuchikage, are you alright? Kitsuchi asked cautiously. I'm fine. Better than ever. Anoki laughed. Good news from Konoha. The Hyuga clan defected. Anoki handed the intelligence report to Kitsuchi. Honestly, Anoki found Konoha's constant internal turmoil hilarious. First, Shin Uzumaki left for unknown reasons, likely related to Konoha's leadership. Anoki was grateful for that, a Konoha with Shin Uzumaki could have conquered the world. Then, Hataki Tsukumo, a Kage-level powerhouse, was driven to suicide by his own village. Anoki had rejoiced at that news too. Shortly after the Third Shinobi World War, Konoha suffered the Ninetales incident, losing their fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. And now, the Hyuga clan had defected. What did Konoha have left? Only the old man Hiruzen Sarutobi holding things together. Anoki was eagerly awaiting the inevitable conflict between Konoha and the Uchiha clan. Though he didn't know all the details, he was aware of the friction between Konoha's leadership and the Uchiha. That conflict was bound to erupt eventually. When it did, it would be a fight to the death. Regardless of the outcome, it would only benefit Iwagakure. The Hyuga clan defected, and succeeded? Is Konoha that weak? Kitsuchi asked Anoki, puzzled. Anoki stopped laughing and fell into thought. He'd been so caught up in his gloating that he hadn't considered that point. If Kitsuchi hadn't brought it up, he might have overlooked it. The intel doesn't mention how they succeeded. Looks like we need to investigate this further. Anoki felt it was necessary to find out how the Hyuga clan managed to escape Konoha. A clan, no matter how strong, couldn't possibly defeat an entire village, could they? It was absolutely impossible. In Anoki's eyes, the Hyuga clan was decent, but not exceptional, certainly not comparable to the Uchiha. If the Uchiha clan had successfully defected, Anoki wouldn't have been so surprised. That wraps up this part of What If Copy System in Naruto. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Quick reminder. What If sign-in system in High School DxD will be going on hold soon, since we've nearly caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What if Gacha system in Modern Family World? What if Natsu has dual elements? What if Transmigrated in One Piece and becoming a Marine? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.